Don't get me wrong, hitting a six-figure year is really exciting, but I'm gonna break down today how simple it is for you guys after you hit your first six-figure year in business to go to a seven-figure year. I find that so many people get so excited about that first six figures, but if you lay the fundamentals properly for the six-figure year, it's actually not as difficult as most people make it out to be to hit the seven figures. What I find is that a lot of coaches oscillate and they make business way harder than they need to, and that's actually the reason that they have a hard time going from six figures even to multiple six, or from multiple six to seven figures. So if you guys don't know my background, I personally scaled my two coaching companies up to seven figures. The first company before the age of 22 within my first 3 years of having it. And then my second business, my business coaching business, within the first year I actually hit a seven-figure year. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys need in order to hit this. If you guys didn't watch my first video on how to scale to your first six-figure year in business, it'd be really advantageous for you guys to go back, take a look at it, just see what the basics are. I'm gonna cover a little bit in this video so you guys understand how to hit that seven, but it would really help you guys to watch that before you watch this one. So what I talked about in the first video where I talked about hitting your first six-figure year in business, the most important thing is really understanding your brand, understanding the solution that you offer, and understanding how you're helping somebody else in the space and knowing that ideal client. It's all about attraction strategy. I got my first 100 clients just from simply putting out a ton of free value on the internet. Social media makes it so easy for us to build our business nowadays. So as long as you're really focusing on putting yourself out there, putting your personality out there, and you're really clear on your brand, that's what's gonna help you first get to that first six-figure year. Now my guess is if you're watching this, you're like, Ken, I'm already there. I'm really ready to take it to the next level. So let's talk a little bit about why laying that fundamental is so important for hitting that seven. So when you're going to a seven-figure year in business, everything you did when you were scaling up to your first 10K month, your first six-figure year, all of that stuff you still need to be doing. So if you're doing outreach, if you're posting free value, if you're posting on social media, if you're working on generating leads through specific email funnels or whatever it might be to just be putting out as much content as possible, all of those things you're still gonna be doing to work towards hitting that seven-figure year. Basically what it is just everything is amplified and everything is more efficient that you're doing from a six-figure year all the way up to a seven-figure year. So what I wanna do is I wanna break down the 4 things that after you hit your first six-figure year, you need to be doing. You need to make sure that you have quality assurance checks on to be able to scale to that first seven-figure year. So here's one of the most important things that I did first. I started using my key point indicators, my KPIs, to make more data-driven decisions. Once you hit that first six-figure mark in your business, it's more than likely that you have data to collect, whether it's from specific marketing campaigns, whether it's from calls booked, showed, and closed, whether it's from analytics from your content and social media. But what you're gonna see from tracking those KPIs, lead tracking as well, is that you're gonna be able to use that data to actually make more informed decisions moving forward instead of just winging it. When you're working towards a seven-figure business, you absolutely need to be more objective and you need to be using data to create points for you to actually make decisions off of. So this is where strategic planning is gonna come into place, and I'm actually gonna talk about that a little later in the video. But the most important thing is making sure that you are tracking your KPIs. Some really important KPIs that I track are looking at our call ratios, so our calls booked, our calls showed, and our calls closed. Because I know for myself and my team personally, if we're looking at those numbers, we're looking at what the average is of the closing percentage and how many calls we're getting on the books to see, okay, if we're booking 20 calls per week and we sign, let's say, 25 clients per month, and that's hitting a six-figure year, what do we need to hit in order for us to take it to that seven-figure mark? And then also client retention. In order for you to hit a higher revenue year, what you need to do is you need to add more clients, or you need to retain the current clients that you have in your coaching business. So the 2 main things I'm looking at are the lead volume and how we're bringing in more leads and how we're converting the sales, and then the retention process, looking at what our retention rates are. Because if you're just continually getting more lead volume in the door, but you're not actually retaining those clients, you're just gonna have this drop off and it's gonna feel like this rat race. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that your KPIs are in place, make sure you're evaluating KPIs on a daily and weekly basis, as well as monthly and of course quarterly, and making sure that you're strategically planning around the data that you have from those KPIs, because that's what's gonna help you plan the numbers you need to hit in order to get to that next level of income. But also it's gonna help you strategically plan your marketing, how many hires you need to make, the systems that you need in place in order to actually hit those specific KPI targets. So that's number 1. Number 2 is amplifying your brand awareness, and a lot of this can be done through marketing strategy. So what I recommend is after you hit that first 10K month, after you hit that first 6-figure year, you've probably worked with a lot of clients at this point, and it's your job to actually refine the program, make the program better, and understand what the main pain points and pleasure points of your ideal client is. Because when you gather that information, you can take that and you can refine some of the parts of your brand to deepen the messaging. When you really have an understanding of your brand and you really are super stoked about your vision, it's impossible for you to not show up. You know exactly who you're talking to, you know exactly what to be talking about, and this will actually help you pump out more content that actually resonates with the people that you work with, not just kind of skim over the surface. This is what's going to set you apart from the competition as well. So as you're growing your business, you need to make sure that you're refining the things that you're doing in your brand, including content and messaging points. The program that you have, are you really clear on what the client ascension journey is based off of the brand that you've built, based off of the business that you've built? And so when you amplify your message, when you're louder, when you're more of an authority, and when you have more exposure and expansion, that's going to help get you in front of more people, right? This could also be you maybe integrating ads as well, right? So one of the things that I did luckily was I actually didn't have to integrate any ads at all to hit my first 7-figure year in business. But what we're starting to notice as more recently is as I've pivoted more to business coaching, ads have really helped us pick up lead generation on both the business coaching and the fitness coaching side to be able to expand our audience. So just having more brand awareness comes from more exposure and more expansion, but it also comes from you deepening the messaging of the brand itself. Okay, number 3, this is going to be your team hires and your key players. One of the most important things for me was that as I scaled my company, I was working hardcore in fulfillment. I actually got myself stuck in fulfillment, and it was really hard for me to focus on lead generation and marketing strategy. So one of the most important things that you could do is start to look at what team players and what key players you need to bring into the company to buy yourself back more time so that you can work more efficiently on the parts of the business that are going to help it grow. So if you bring in more team players and they're working inside their zone of genius, they're probably going to be better than you at certain tasks inside the company too. This is going to help you focus on more of the roles that you're good at, help them focus on more of the roles that they're good at, and be able to actually scale the company together. I found that when I started bringing in team members, it bought me back so much time. I started doing more of the things that I loved, and now I'm able to do more things like content production. I pushed off getting on YouTube. I pushed off my podcasting for a long time because I felt like I didn't have the time to focus on content since I was so stuck in the business. So team players, key players can make a huge difference in you being able to go from that multiple six up to that 7 figures, so you have more time back. And last but not least, efficiency and systems. It's important that all the systems that you've been using are made to be more efficient. This stems into your sales process, making sure that you have more of a turnkey system for lead and lead volume. This also means looking at your team. Are there different SOPs or different systems that you need in place for your team to operate faster and more efficiently as well as effectively? And of course, client delivery. Are you looking at ways to improve your client delivery so you're getting more referrals, your clients are staying on top of their goals and getting results without you necessarily having to pull more of the weight? You as a CEO want to have more of a CEO and a founder to-do list. And I find that a lot of people, even at 7 figures, do not have this, and I don't blame them. I myself am still in fulfillment a good bit, and that was a choice that I made as a CEO. But I find that a lot of CEOs are doing a lot of the nitty-gritty work. It's important that you look at everything that you're doing when you're hitting 6 and multiple 6 figures. So you have to ask yourself, like, can I create a system for this? Can I create something that's more efficient? Do you find that your check-in process takes a long time with clients? Do you find your sales process, your sales calls, all of those things, do you find that they take you a lot of time? Is there a way for you to make that more efficient and more effective? This is my zone of genius. I personally love creating more brand awareness. I love creating more systems, create efficiency, and I absolutely love building out my team in a way where they're working really efficiently and effectively, but also we're still having a lot of fun. So just from this video alone, hopefully you guys can see, there's not actually a lot of extra to-dos that you need to do to scale from 6 to 7 figures. It's more of looking at what got you to the multiple 6 figures or the 6 figures and amplifying it, and then basically replacing yourself and creating duplicatable processes. I find that so many people are making business way harder than it needs to be. It's almost like they want to struggle. And if that resonates with you and you're like, why am I struggling all the time? It's more than likely that you need to just sit down, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what can I hand off? What can I make a system for? How can I make this more of a duplicatable process so that I'm not super involved in it, but also it's still fulfilling and it's still doing what it needs to do efficiently to get the business to the next level? So if you feel like you're lost with this, or you're like, holy crap, I have no idea what any of this stuff is either, or you're just wondering, hey, I'm just looking to make my first 6 figures, here's what I recommend. Check the link down below. We have something called our business blueprint. This is for anyone who's either scaling their first client, just getting their first client on board, Or even if you're scaling up to 7 figures, the business blueprint's awesome because every single day I drip out a video to you, and each day it's gonna resonate with different parts of the business, from systems to understanding your messaging and branding, to even understanding an entrepreneurial mindset and really putting yourself in a place where you have systems for your life and business that allow for you to perform more efficiently. So if you guys wanna grab that, just click the link down below. I appreciate you guys as always. I'll be pumping out a crap ton more content. So if you guys wanna see any specific videos, just leave a comment down below. Feel free to shoot me a message over on Instagram if you guys have questions from anything in this video as well. You guys can catch me on Instagram right here. Love you guys, and I will catch you in the next video.